People are dressing like mall goths again, and I'm like 2010 mall goths, and I think I am down with that.
I'd rather. We haven't had an episode since we were in the Pacific Northwest. I feel acutely acquainted with the goth subculture at this point in time. Went to a place called the Coffin Club.
It's the best place in the world.
There's an actual coffin there. And not only is there a coffin, there's also spiders and there's skulls as well.
There's a big Ouija board on the floor.
Yeah, and there was a little person there. And I don't know if that was part of the theme.
Caleb got a text from me at one point. I think I was upstairs buying a drink.
I got a crazy text.
I sent Caleb a text that just said, "There is a woman here with a slave."
And then I looked down at my phone. I was at the bar. I looked down at my phone, and then I looked up, and who was walking towards me but this woman with her slave.
Mm-hmm. She had elf ears on.
Yeah, and at first I thought it was maybe "What Would You Do" episode.
Yeah,
and it was like, what would you do if a woman was walking around with a slave?
And a goth, but then you had to put once you put goth club in there. It's like,
there's probably more than one slave here.
Yeah,
and maybe they take turns. But I don't know. That slave seemed like she was doing a damn good job.
Yeah,
yeah, and you could tell who the master was because
the master had big elf ears, and they had them on a chain.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, I guess they're just like doing like I wasn't weirded out by it at all.
Were you surprised at how okay you were with slavery? Because that doesn't surprise me. That a slave walked right by you and you said, okay, interesting. You said instead of "I'll text my friend," you should have said, "I'm going to text 911."
Yeah,
and you should have called 911.
But I think it was a sexual thing.
That should still be illegal.
Yeah,
I think people fucked slaves all the time.
Yeah, look at Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson was a fucking.
They called him the slave fucker.
They did.
Yeah,
he was putting up wilt numbers.
Yeah, dude, he was the most prolific
slave fucker.
Yeah,
and I don't want. This person who's walking around the Coffin Club could have been the next Thomas Jefferson. And no founding father. She could have been fucking. She could.
What was crazy about that was we went there, then the next day went to Seattle. 2 days later, and we did see this like this small woman who looked pretty old there.
That's what I'm saying. We saw the same. Oh yeah,
we saw the same old little person 2 days in a row.
Unmistakable little person.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and was just walking around in two cities, 3-hour drive apart.
Mm-hmm.
Just walking around.
It's the same as like going to like upstate New York.
Yeah, but to see them 2 times in a
that's true. To see them on the sidewalk, just randomly, and seeing them at a goth nightclub, and then seeing an NPC at a place. It's like somebody
exactly. They reused the texture.
Did like a console command to spawn them on that sidewalk.
Yeah, it's like when you say when you're in a video game, you get a quest from somebody and they're like, okay, I'll meet you there, and then they stay there and you walk away, and then you get to the new place, they're already fucking there. That's what it was like.
Oh yeah,
it was like she gave us a quest. She was like, go. You need to get as far away from the slave driver in Portland as possible. And we said, yes, ma'am. Next day, we see her there, right? And we didn't even get XP for that.
No.
We should have.
I think we did. I think we got a lot of XP on this trip.
I think so. I think I'm getting ready to level up.
Yeah, I've leveled up to my goth tree. I've completely gone goth.
I think I realized that I would be a really fucking good goth based on my looks.
Me too.
You're a little too swarthy, honestly. You're like, I feel like you should be at a pirate bar. Let me be. I look like a skeleton. You let me be a goth guy.
I think I look more goth I think I know more about goths than you.
That doesn't mean anything. You could be a historian, right? That doesn't make you.
I think that'd also be a cool look at the goth club, as if I'm dressed up like the gothic professor.
Oh, you could be like kind of a goth Indiana Jones type.
Yeah,
yeah.
That Bauhaus record belongs in a museum.
There we go.
Say stuff like that.
Yeah. But did goths don't go to museums then?
No, they go.
They
go to mortuaries.
Yeah, that
Alien Six Fiend record belongs in a mortuary.
It belongs in a mausoleum.
There we go. Uh-huh.
That's easy, dude.
Yeah,
but I do think that
God belongs in an alcove.
There we go, an alcove.
Yeah.
So now that we've invaded the Goths and I think they accept us. That's one thing I'll say about the Goths.
The Goths
The
are
Goths
very
were completely accepting us.
So we went to the Goth club. We went to 4 different Goth clubs.
Yeah, and we did. And I'd like to know about some in New York because I enjoyed the people.
So we went to 4 different ones, then ended up at Coffin Club. We went there, met the bartender, then came back the next night in face paint.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of face paint for our Portland show.
Yeah,
and then we didn't have time to take it off before we went back to the Goth Club, and so we showed up the first night. Let's be real. We looked like complete herbs.
Yeah,
right. We're sitting there.
We looked like we stuck out like sore thumbs.
We were wearing white T-shirts and shit. We were thinking more East Coast gangsta style. Right. We pulled up on the Pacific Northwest coast.
Yep.
Right. They checked us. They checked us. Goth checked
checked.
at the fucking bar. Right. We ordered.
They're asking us about G code.
Yeah. We were like, oh, you already know what it is. They're like, that's the wrong coast. No. We were saying cap. We were saying fam. It wasn't working with them.
They were supposed to say bat. You're supposed to say bam.
Cape. Yeah. Bat. Cape. Skull.
Bam.
They say like, yo, that's mad skull.
It is mad Scully in here.
Yeah, like that's skull AF. Yo, that's brimstone. Yo, that's on brimstone.
Yo, you look like obsidian right now.
Yeah, you straight staked up. That's what they be saying. But they don't say
stuff
it like that.
Yeah,
that's my East Coast kind of New York accent.
Yep.
But anyway, then we show up the next day. We hit the upgrade button.
Oh,
okay?
Absolutely.
My face, white as snow. Patrick's face, completely green.
It was gray.
Completely gray.
It was gray because I tried to layer.
And listen, my lips, black as night. My eyes, black as night.
Mine
Patrick's
were red.
eyes, black as night. Patrick's lips, wax red lips. Just looked like a Mr. Potato Head.
I looked like old Greg.
Yeah, you looked completely like old Greg.
Which, I mean, honestly, fit in. I fit in well in there.
I wanted to pull up like a mime, though. I think that would have been a better look.
I think if next time, I think we all go
next time we pull
mimes.
up like mimes.
Yeah.
Mime's got to be part goth, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, a mime can't even talk. What's more kind of sad than that?
Yeah. And they're always sad.
Goth music, I was pretty surprised. I'd never heard a goth song before that I knew of. But then we got in there, they're playing like Depeche Mode and shit.
Depeche Mode.
Depeche.
You gotta if you want to be a goth, you gotta say Depeche Mode.
Depeche. No, I don't want to be a goth. I'm a Spaniard.
Why are you changing up? Why are you changing up now?
Because I dabbled, right? But honestly, I'm a culture vulture. I'll cop to it.
Yeah.
I just want to be a fucking culture vulture.
You are. I've been about being goth.
You have not been about being goth. You're wearing white. I'm wearing.
I had a whole goth playlist ready when
I'm wearing
we got
deep, dark tones.
When we got to Portland.
Yeah, Spotify presents.
Nope.
Goth 90s.
It was my own. It was my own gothic playlist.
No.
I had Killing Joke on there.
That's a Batman game.
Nope.
Movie.
That's a band.
Book. I like you give a fuck about bands.
I do. I give a fuck about the goth culture.
I was pulling up with mad knowledge. I was spitting facts at them. I was educated. They thought I was an OG. And you know what the G stands for. I ain't got to go.
Old goth.
Yep.
I pulled up like an OG too, old Greg.
You did. Yo, he's an OG.
Yeah, dude, that's OG. That's old Greg.
Yeah. You pulled up. You were like, yeah, bartender.
Want to drink Bailey's out of a shoe?
Can I get Bailey's?
Yep.
Straight up in a shoe?
Can you serve me Bailey's in my shoe?
Yeah, right now.
Thank you.